Okay. Meeting the needs of the current generation.
Noise. We have noise in back.
Meeting the needs of the current generation with, sorry, okay, wait, hold on, can I just practice once? Compromising.
Meeting the needs of the current generation without,
Definition of sustainability. Sergio.
Without compromising the ability of future generations.
Meeting the needs of the current generation without compromising the ability of future generations. Meeting the needs of current generations.
Okay. Meeting the needs of the current generation without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs.
Say cheese. Action.
If our watershed wasn't here, our cities wouldn't be here. Every city on the planet was once a small settlement built on purpose, right beside clear, clean, free-flowing water. The watershed is nature's green infrastructure. It's all the rocks, the minerals, the organic matter, the soil, the sun, water, air, and all of the interactions among living things that make the ecosystem dynamic. Without these structural elements, the whole system would quickly fall apart. The structural elements in a city, or gray infrastructure, include road, sidewalks, parking lots, buildings, pipes, and electrical wires, without which the city couldn't function. The question is, how can we integrate the gray infrastructure of cities with the green infrastructure of nature? Or, look at it this way.
There are 27 cities in our watershed. Some are big, some are small. Their boundaries are not natural, they're political. They are often cut right through streams. If the cities and the streams had the same boundaries, it would look like this. We surveyed 26 cities and received responses from 20. Kent was not included in the pilot year study, but it will be next year because we found out that about 1/3 of its citizens get their drinking water piped over from the Cedar River. Here's the data on sustainability trends in cities. 12 out of 20 cities, 60%, identified sustainability as a community value in their city's comprehensive plan. This is a small first step, just words really, but this language enables other, more consequential decisions to be made. A slightly different set of cities have established an internal green team charged with coordinating sustainability actions across the departments of city government. These cities have gone a step further by calculating the carbon footprint of their own operations. And these cities have actually set targets for reducing their carbon footprint.
Seattle is the first city to establish green building codes. 45% of the rest of the cities provide incentives and offer green building guidelines, but this does not require developers to build green. It only encourages them. The remaining 50% of the cities do not yet have green building codes or incentives in place. 6 cities have chosen to challenge themselves in an area where they have more direct control, how they build their own city buildings. Leading by example, these 6 cities require that all city-built structures must be at least LEED Silver. LEED means Leadership in Engineering and Environmental Design. It is a national rating system for green building. In order to be certified at silver, gold, or platinum levels, architects and builders need to integrate multiple systems: sustainable site development, water conservation, energy efficiency, materials selection, and indoor air quality. 14 out of 20 of the cities in our watershed have adopted some level of affordable housing policy. This strategy enables more people with diverse social and economic backgrounds to live close to where the city has the most services. Otherwise, only wealthier people could afford to live in these neighborhoods. When people can afford to live close to where they work, go to school, shop, and play, it reverses suburban sprawl, eases traffic congestion, and reduces the city's overall carbon footprint.
In a similar way, city governments are beginning to examine the relationship between the sustainability of local food systems and the socio-economic well-being of their citizens. Led by the City of Seattle, a variety of initiatives are contributing to the development of a regional food policy. Components of this strategy include increased connections between our rural and urban areas. The farmers and the consumers. Supporting local farmers also helps protect green spaces for healthy soils and a healthy watershed, rather than letting cities sprawl haphazardly. Support for farmers markets brings local neighborhoods into a greater sense of community with each other and the people who grow their food, as well as economic benefits to local farmers and their families. Additional jobs are created in food production, processing, distribution, organic restaurants, grocers, and food scrap composting. And new partnerships are connecting major institutions, such as schools, hospitals, and jails, to locally grown food. Encouraging more community gardens and abandoned lots or small plots helps feed local people and integrate immigrant populations, while also absorbing carbon dioxide and holding more rainwater in the soil, rather than having it run off on paved areas. Growing more local food means that food travels shorter distances, reducing environmental impacts, minimizing energy use, and reducing food waste. Integrating and expanding all these systems improves the security of our local food supply in the event of a major disaster. And local food initiatives bring good, working soil back into the city, increasing our awareness and sense of shared responsibility for the stewardship of our watershed resources.
Another significant trend is the evolution of low-impact development strategies. The goal of low-impact development, or LID, is to build buildings and roads and parking lots in a way that has the lowest possible impact on the natural flow of water across the landscape. It's easy to forget that every square foot of cities we live in is a part of the drainage of the watershed. A watershed is not the river. It is the entire landscape that drains towards the river or infiltrates into the soil to recharge the groundwater. It is the land, all of the land, whether it's a parking lot, or a park, or a pipe, or a free-flowing river. Low-impact development strategies try to mimic the pre-development hydrology by holding rainwater on site, giving it time to infiltrate like it would have under natural conditions, in a forest or a meadow with rich, healthy soils. Of the cities we surveyed, 42% have developed low-impact development requirements. Another 42% have, so far, only developed guidelines, suggestions, and incentives that encourage but do not require low-impact development. The rest of the cities do not have low-impact development strategies in place yet.
How are cities integrating sustainability in transportation planning? Many of our cities have multiple initiatives. Pedestrian-oriented town center development, no idling laws that remind people to shut off their engines if they are stuck in line or waiting at a parking space, integrated walking trails separate from cities' sidewalks, electric vehicle plug-in infrastructure, which means that some cities are thinking ahead for how to provide thousands of new plug-in stations for the coming electric car revolution. More than half of our cities are beginning to purchase green fleets, which means biodiesel, hybrid, or electric cars and light trucks for city operation and official travel. 65% of our cities have instituted a city employee commute reduction program, encouraging carpools and van pools, or allowing employees to work from home via the internet for a certain number of days per week.
The vision for managing our garbage is not how we can get rid of it, but how we can learn to use it as an industrial nutrient, part of a cycle, like the way nature uses every chemical compound in continuous cycles of growth, decay, and renewal. Our cities are integrating an array of waste management strategies. 95% of the cities surveyed have recycling programs. 47% have composting programs. 37% have regulations for recycling and composting at community events and festivals. 26% of our cities have sustainable purchasing practices to prioritize green products and encourage those businesses that manufacture or distribute them. 68% have instituted e-waste programs. Electronic gadgets, old cables, DVDs, printer cartridges, cell phones, and computers. With an e-waste program, these products no longer go to the landfill, but are reclaimed for their parts, metals and plastics, a major new trend. 42% of our cities have toxic waste reduction programs. 31% have take-back prescription drug programs. This is important because it is very damaging for Puget Sound when people flush unused medications down the toilet. These chemicals cannot be properly broken down in the system, so they end up moving into the food chain from the smallest zooplankton all the way up to our Puget Sound orcas, which are now the most toxic animals on the planet.
Finally, cities are playing an important role in improving wildlife habitat. 55% of our cities have an open space stewardship program, protecting green space from becoming just more asphalt. 70% have specific programs for salmon and stream habitat restoration. 80% have instituted the practice of planting native species in city-managed green spaces, which increases wildlife habitat and reduces the need for extra irrigation. 55% support natural landscaping and yard care programs for homeowners. 60% have pet waste education programs and scoop laws, and 45% have programs to retain or expand urban forest. Bringing the forest back into the city not only makes your community more beautiful, but the trees help to sequester carbon dioxide, a double gift.
In 2009, the sweet spot just got a little sweeter.